Okay, so first, multiplying monomials. Let's start with this one. Now notice that in this expression, I have a multiplication implied here, but also multiplication is implied here, 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 and here. And we have rules in math, they're called the commutative property and the associative property, that tells us that first, order doesn't matter. 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2, so you can switch the order around. And also, as long as everything's all multiplied together, it doesn't matter the order. So you don't really need these parentheses. That's the associative property. So when I'm doing this problem, the first thing I do is take out the parentheses. Remember, I can only do this as long as everything's multiplied together. And second, I rearrange the order. So this, I would rewrite as this. I put all the plain old numbers next to each other. And then I put the A's next to each other. And then I put the B's next to each other. Okay? Now, a lot of this, once I get practiced up, I do kind of in my head. So I do skip some steps when I'm working problems after I get the hang of it. Okay. So now let's take a look at these individual pieces. -3 times 2. Well, that's -6. So I can simplify that. Now let's look at this piece, a to the 4th times a. A to the 4th is really a times itself 4 times. A times a times a times a. Times a is just, so what do I really have here? I really have a times a times a times a times a. A times itself 5 times. How do you write that? Well, a to the 5th power. And what do I really have here? B to the 3rd times b to the 4th. Well, b to the 3rd is b times 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 b. So really what I have here is b to the 7th. So that's my answer. So let's take a look at this problem. Again, the associative and commutative properties tell me that I can get rid of the parentheses and rearrange the order, as long as everything is multiplied together here, which it is. There's no adding or subtracting in here at all. So I'll put the numbers next to each other, and then the letters next to each other. I've got an x to the 3rd and an x to the 4th, and a y squared, and a y to the 5th. Okay, so let's see. 6 times 4, I can simplify that. That's 24. Now x to the 3rd, that's really x times x times x, times x to the 4th is really x times itself 4 times. So what do I really have there? X times x times, I have x to the 7th. And let's look at the y's. Y squared really means y times itself, times y to the 5th, that means y times itself 5 times. So what do I really have here? 7 y's all multiplied together. That's y to the 7th. There's my answer. Now, some people can do that more quickly because there are shortcuts here. It's called the laws of exponents. If you have x to the 3rd times x to the 4th, like bases that are multiplied, what can you do with the exponents? The 3 and the 4, I can just add them to get this 7. Same thing here. If I have like bases that are added, 2 y's multiplied together, I can add these exponents. So some people do this more quickly and just say, okay, well, the 6 and the 4, that's going to make 24. And then x to the 3rd, y to the 4th. Multiplying like bases means add the exponents. So they just add the 3 and the 4 and get x to the 7th. And then the y's. Y squared times y to the 5th. Multiplying like bases, I can add the exponents. So that's y to the 7th. That's called a law of exponents. If you have 2 like bases that are multiplied, you can combine them and just add the exponents. It's one of the laws of exponents, a shortcut to what we've been talking about. So let's look down here. Again, it's all multiplied together, so I can get rid of the parentheses and I can change the order around. Negative 3 times 7 can simplify to negative 21. P to the 4th times P to the 5th. So I have P, and P, 5 of them anyway. I lost count. So that's P to the 9th. There's 9 P's all multiplied together. That's P to the 9th. This would be Q times QQ. So actually 5 Q's multiplied together. So that's Q to the 5th. Again, do it quicker if you're getting it. Negative 3 times 7, negative 21. 4 and 5, I can add those, P to the 9th. 3 and 2, I can add those, Q to the 5th.